Alright, I just wanted to do an end video of the stereo console. I had finished it. It's not a professional restoration or anything, you know, it's just kind of put together and with very little money, a little bit of spray paint and some Bondo and some sanding. You can see you can see that really well, don't know. You can see the legs. The lighting's not real great, but you can see that they came out pretty good. Let's see if I can get out of the way here. If you remember right, I had it flipped over, and that's what I was working on. Look at how nice and clean they look now. And you can see like the corner areas. You know, remember those were all messed up. And you know, here's the other corner. And down here, of course, it's too dark really to see. But anyway, you can see, if you remember right, you know how the bottom was really messed up. You can see what kind of work. I know it's kind of, the video's not real great, but originally I was going to leave this front area right here brown, if you remember back to the first video, but it just looked better black. It didn't look good black and brown. Still got a couple little things going on with it. The hinges really probably need to be replaced or adjusted or something. You can see the 45 rack for the 45s, the little teeny records, and you can see the chrome on the radio and the 8-track there has seen better days, but it is all cleaned up. It's just a little worn out. Needs a little more cleaning, and then the other side. The doors don't want to stay open yet. And then you can see where the albums went. I just have some extra parts in there. You know, and there's the radio on the other side. And there's the turntable. It still needs a little bit of working on. I'm going to sell this one. I ended up changing my mind about keeping this one. So I'm selling it. The stereo does work on it. And, you know, of course, replacing the hinges, you can see this one's up just a little bit. It's a little stubborn. Of course, for being like 30, 40 years old, I guess it's not doing too bad. I actually like the way this one looks, but I do have another one that's going to fit my stereo. I have an old tube stereo that I was going to put in it, and it just, the way the stereo is, the tube stereo, didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to with this one. Doesn't really have very many mounting points. I was going to actually mount an old tube stereo. Of course, you can, if I had something modern, of course it wouldn't be any problem. But the weight of the old tube stereo, it weighs almost 40 pounds. And it's just something that's a little smaller. Probably, the face of it is probably a little bit smaller than the radio and everything in here. And I was going to mount it just like that, kind of hang it, but from, you know, support the weight and put it in, you know, kind of facing up, which it wasn't really made to do. But it ended up that there wasn't any place to support it, and the weight was so great that it wasn't going to be supported by the faceplate or whatever. There were like a couple small screws that I could have tried, but I decided not to risk it. But I really like the way this one looks, so I'm going to sell this one. It still has a couple things for this one to work, to be completely workable. I would replace the hinges. As you can see, it doesn't really want to stay open by itself all the way, and it should. And the turntable needs a little bit of working on to get it going. They usually do. I believe the motor runs and the turntable turns, but I'm not sure all the gears work, so it probably needs to be oiled and stuff. You know, changing the gear, the speed. And the radio, I don't know if the 8-track works because I don't have one, but the radio does work. It's just weak on one side. And it's so funny because there's so few parts in. This isn't a tube stereo. This is a transistor. You know, it's a one of the first transistor, I guess, stereos. And we're not talking about chips even, we're talking about transistors. So there's very few parts. And you used to be able to get all that stuff at Radio Shack. You can see the felt down in there where the albums go. That's so 70s, 60s, 70s. But anyway, all the parts are available on the internet. And I don't really know how to repair electronic stuff. I can solder stuff, but there's so few parts in there. I was tempted to just keep it and just buy all the parts that there are on it and just replace all of them, you know, or keep replacing it until the other side worked. But it plays, it's just a little weak. So I think it's probably, what I've heard is that capacitors, you know, tend to age. So, and they're like, you know, little drums that they have in there, like little teeny drums, you know, cylinders. And they just, you know, they unsolder really easy. It's not like the chips where, you know, you might as well forget trying to unsolder those things. But, and they're like $1, you know, like 59 cents and $1 or something on eBay. So I thought about actually just going ahead and replacing all the little parts in there. But I guess I'll leave that for somebody else. I originally bought this for like 20 bucks. So, and you can see what a couple cans of spray paint. And if you look at the other videos, and just a small amount of Bondo and some, you know, little tiny nails and a little bit of glue, etc. can do. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to show, you know, anybody who, you know, it doesn't really take much to make them look good. Of course, it's not a professional restoration, but you can see, let me see if I can turn this sideways so you can see real good. There's the back of it all cleaned up. If you remember, all this was like all bare wood and everything. And you can see down in there, you know, it's all fixed. But anyway, the next person who gets it will have a little bit to do. And then they'll have an old school stereo console. Pretty neat. All right. But anyway, anybody trying, you know, thinking about doing something like that, it's really not very hard. And as you can see, it looks good. It looks as good. Actually, it looks better in person than it does in the video. And like I said, it's not a professional restore, so something very easy for anybody to do. Alrighty. Good luck if you try.